Hello and a very good day everyone. So today we will learn on Power Query. If you look carefully in this particular file, we do have a data, just say like OPEX category, expenses group, GL, expense items, and the respective departments and also their expenses. So basically what I want to do is in this given data, I actually want to transform this data into 5 different columns. Column number 1, I want the OPEX category. Column number 2, I want the expense group. Column number 3, I want the expense item. And column number 4, I want the departments, marketing department, human resource department, accounting department, admin department in one column, and all the other expenses also lumbered up in one column. So basically how I want to actually transform this data, and then eventually later I also want to use PivotTable to do some data analysis. So let's get started. So first thing is, in order to transform a data, we need to use Power Query. So if we want to go to Power Query editor, first thing is we need to highlight the particular data. So I'll press Ctrl A. Ctrl A means will highlight the entire table. So once I press Ctrl A, I go to data, I click on this data ribbon over here, and I'll press on from table/range. Once I click it over here, you will notice that a box will appear. So in this particular box, what I need to do is I'll just press OK. So I have to make sure that my table has no headers, because if I tick this means they will consider this as a header. So I'll just press OK. Once I press OK, you will notice that eventually we will be navigated to Power Query Editor. So here we do have like column 1 up to the last column. So we have OPEX category, expenses group, GL, and expense item. So first thing is we need to remove these 2 rows. So what we do is we just go to Home ribbon, we go to Remove Rows, remove the top row. Why remove the top row? Because we want to remove the first 2 rows. So remove top row. So once we click remove top row, you will notice that a box will appear. So in this particular box, how many rows we want to remove? We want to remove 2 rows. And then we press OK. So once we press OK, so the 2 rows, the top rows will be removed. And then what we want to do is, the first row we want to promote as the header. So if you want to promote as the header, you can actually click use first row as header. Where is this icon? You can go to home. Under home you can press use first row as header, or you can go to transform. Under transform you can click use first row as header. So either way it works. So I click it over here. So there you go. So here we have all the rows. The first row will be promoted as the header. And like I mentioned just now we do have marketing department, human resource department, accounting department, and admin department. So basically I want all these departments to appear in one column and the respective figures to appear in other column. So in this case, we can actually use unpivot column. So when we click on unpivot column, so just like that, it will transform the data. So over here we do have the department, over here we have the expenses. So this is OPEX category, this is the expenses group. We don't need the GL, so you can just remove this, and we have expenses item. Here you can just change to department, and here you can just change to expenses. And just like that, we can transform the data. So we can go to home and we can click on close and load. So when you press close and load, it will load as a table format in a new sheet. So you can press close and load, and then eventually it will load as a table format. So the interesting thing is, it not only can load as a table format, you can also load in a pivot table format. So meaning to say, you can just press here right click, and then you can go to load to. Once you press load to, you can choose pivot table report. So you can click on pivot table report and you press OK and OK. So just like that, we have already transformed the loading. So now if just say I want to load as pivot table and I want to do data analysis, what I can do is I can just click on the department. So the department, here we have the respective department, and then I also can put the expenses group in the columns. So here we have the expenses group like advertising and so on, or you can actually put the OPEX category in every columns. So this is the details, and you can just tick the expenses. So now this is the data. So basically what we can do is, using Power Query, initially what we do is we transform the data, and then the next thing is we can actually load in a pivot table format, so that this data can actually load in pivot table where we can do the analysis and understand the numbers. And not only that, we can also format the data. So I just press your right click, I go to number format, and then I'll just go to accounting, no symbol and no decimal places. I'll just press OK, and then there you go. Now we have already changed this data and so on. So basically this is how you can actually prepare your presentation, where you can use Power Query to do data transformation and pivot table to perform the data analysis.